Hare Krishna devotees, the shloka for today is shloka number 19 of chapter 7. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prabadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prabadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prabadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bahunam, many. Janmanam, repeated births and deaths. Ante, after. Jnanavan, one who is in full knowledge. Mam, unto me. Prabadyate, surrenders. Vasudevaha, the personality of Godhead. Krishna, Sarvam, everything. Iti, thus. Saha, that. Maha Atma, great soul. Sudurlabha, very rare to see. Translation: after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So, here the Lord has been talking about the progression actually from bhajante to prabadyate. So, let's look at that. So, in Shloka 7.16, the Lord talks about bhajante. And from bhajante, the progression has now reached to prabadyate. The word bhajante means offering some devotional service or at least approaching the Supreme Lord for any one of those pious reasons. And now, here in this particular shloka, the Lord has reached the stage of prabadyate. He's telling us from bhajante to prabadyate, it may take many, many lifetimes. So finally, in one of the lifetimes, we become single pointedly devoted to the Supreme Lord. So that means from bhajante to prabadyate is a progression. And that progression can take several lifetimes depending on the intensity of our practice. So many people may perform bhakti more as a casual activity, as part of their daily routine. But if that same bhakti can be performed with absolute seriousness, intensity, and single pointed focus on the Lord, that is the kind of bhakti that the Lord is talking about here. And that's why he's saying this kind of bhakti is very, very rare. So sometimes we may perform some ajnata sukriti. Unknowingly, we may have done some devotional service. So let us say, for example, you're watering the plants and a tulsi plant happens to be growing there. So just watering the tulsi plant without you knowing about it, without you being aware of it, that is also ajnata sukriti. Or say somebody invites you to the temple, you're not a devotee of the Lord, they ask you to serve prasadam. So serving prasadam is also ajnata sukriti. So let us say we invite you to the temple, you're very new, we tell you, come and do the seva for this Vaishnava. So rendering service to a Vaishnava is also ajnata sukriti. So somewhere as you collect these ajnata sukriti, so one day you'll come to the point of single pointed devotional service. Now, one day here meaning it may take several lifetimes. So the Lord is just talking about the journey from bhajante to prapadyate. So repeatedly, we will hear Prabhupada saying in his lectures, this one life we should give to Krishna completely, because so many other lives we have lived it for ourselves. We've lived so many lives just for ourselves. So Prabhupada would say, after reading the Bhagavad Gita and after reading his purports, we should come to the conclusion that we don't have any more time to waste. We should practice single-minded bhakti. So the Lord is using the word sudurlabhaha. Durlabhaha means very rare. Sudurlabhaha means very, very rare, extremely rare. So the Lord is also talking about, he mentions Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Such a person understands this Jnanavan. So this is not a Jnana yogi. This person is in full knowledge of Krishna and is practicing pure devotional service in that knowledge. So this person, this Jnanavan, understands that Vasudeva is everything. But that doesn't mean this Jnanavan surrenders to anything and everything. He will only surrender to Vasudeva. Mam prapadyate, surrenders to me. So oftentimes, the Gyanis may criticize the Bhaktas, the intellectually inclined people, those who are practicing Jnana Yoga. They consider Bhakti Yoga, or they may consider Bhakti Yoga to be inferior. They may look down upon those practicing Bhakti Yoga as being sentimental. They think Jnana Yoga is superior because they are engaged with their brains, you see, to acquire knowledge. Whereas Krishna here in the shloka is clearly declaring that this Jnani is going to spend many, many, many lifetimes. He has to cultivate that knowledge. Only when his knowledge is complete is he ready to surrender. So when your brains is filled with knowledge, that also can lead to arrogance, even if it is transcendental knowledge. So real knowledge is mature knowledge that gives you an opportunity to finally surrender to the Supreme Lord. It is this true knowledge that Krishna has been talking about in the last few shlokas. And Krishna is saying it is this true knowledge that actually leads to devotion. So we can use a very simple example to understand the value of something that we have. Oftentimes in the United States, where I used to live, there is this concept of a flea market. I'm sure it is there even today. Now in India, it has come because I see it in our community here. The flea market is somebody selling their things, items, their household items for sale. So usually what people do is they go and hunt for treasure. Sometimes the homeowner doesn't know how valuable the object it is that they're selling. So what happens? Let's say that homeowner has got something and they thought they purchased it for $10 or 10 rupees. And somebody comes to them one day and says, do you know what? This is something that existed 200 years ago. So although you purchased it for 10 rupees, the actual value is $1 million. So suddenly that knowledge of that object being far more valuable than what they had presumed creates attachment. So in the simple way, knowing about Krishna and his position finally gets you to the point where you understand that this is the most precious thing for you to have in your life is Krishna Prema. And that creates deep attachment to Krishna. So when the value of something is perceived by the man to be far greater than what he had originally thought, then he develops love for that particular object. So similarly, we also develop pure love for Krishna when we truly understand who the Lord is. So in the Ramayana, there is a statement that says, without knowledge, there cannot be faith, and without faith, love cannot grow. Similarly, if someone has acquired true knowledge and claims to know the Brahman, then love for him should come naturally. Love for that Brahman, that personality should come naturally. Otherwise, that knowledge is just theoretical. So if one doesn't feel love for the Lord, and if that knowledge doesn't foster devotion, then that knowledge is just merely theoretical. But the Lord is stating here that it takes many, many lifetimes for you to get to that point where you understand who the Supreme Lord is. And that's why Prabhupada encourages us in this life, we should dedicate ourselves completely to Krishna consciousness. Because when we do that, it benefits us. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.